I do exhaust myself, and if I choose to share my body. But the final point in this is this.
But there are a lot of people. I wasn't saying that. You finished my sentence.
There's a lot of people projecting, and you know that there's a high percentage. I think only 1 in 3 men in America, somewhere in that percentile, are having sex. More women are having sex in America than there are men. Most young men. This incel culture is because of those. It's because of those reasons.
Okay, so you're telling me that women
not all about
are having more sex than men in the U.S.
I can pull up the stats. I won't bore you with that.
Oh, no, it's not that. I just wanted you to reiterate.
So there's a lot of people. There are a lot of people who aren't having sex, and if they are, good on you. And many of them are buying sex. And the concept of buying sex has become so common. It's like a strip club mindset. It's like the pimp mindset that was popularized by all of the hip hop music that polluted our young people. Why would anybody want to go to a foreign country to buy sex and be on that? Like, yeah, man, I go to the DR, man, I get lots of play. Yeah, man, but you are buying it. Yeah, so what? Pay for play. When did that become common sense? In a real man's mind.
There was a guy that was on the panel with us that was talking about 3,000.
Well, you know, Flit DR. Yeah, he about it. He's all about it. He about it. It's no thing. There are lots of these brothers who actually created an entire universe of, and in particular, black men, and of course, the massive amount of Europeans and Indians from India who are all in this city, and they all had that same intent. When did that start? It doesn't make sense. If I'm not purposely dating a woman that I met anywhere in the globe who speaks English and can cook some good grits, whatever the case may be, if it's not intentional, then it's transactional. So that means, okay, let me take her out enough times and maybe she'll, lay down in bed with me. That box and cat, y'all men need to stop that. It's so degrading to women to refer to women that way. But that's a part of life, and I just accept it as it is. And I came over here to kind of get away from that nonsense. But I'm an American. I was born and raised there, and I get it. And I also wanted to get away from America because living in the luxury of Los Angeles. There's a video on my page at America Talk Live LA called The Bloody Truth About Los Angeles. It's a funny little thing I put together a couple years ago. And then like the wheels in my head started turning like, wow, Richard, just because you live here doesn't mean you have to die.
Can I say something? I'm done.
I'm sorry.
I want people to know that my mods who said that zero tolerance, Myra, Rai, and so many mods, they do not block people left and right. They are not on some kind of power trip. So I get annoyed when people attack my mods because I think my mods are very decent people. Go ahead, Richard.
Well, I was just trying to wrap up because I know there are other brothers up here and I can't get long-winded because I'm lonely. But so Norm, that's all it is, man. And the notion that any man would travel the earth leading with his lower half is really bizarre to me.
Well, most men do that anyway, bro. But it's not It's not as intentional as you're making it out to be.
Oh, yes, it is, Norm. Stop.
From your perspective, no. You can't be the only one right. That's why it says there's varying degrees of right. Depends upon where you are, what you're looking for. Say it again.
No. I'm asking Linda to come up, to come to the panel.
Well,
to
me, after a week of not having done, I start checking. I start having,
Me too.
I'm sorry. I mean, when I travel, after a week, I'm like, I don't know. I just start acting up, and I'm not. it's a physiological need, I believe. To me, I don't know. In my case, when I like remember Norman when
I think
Turkey,
I need to get out of this conversation.
we
I
were
know.
we were in immigration line. Then we were talking Norman and I,
Is that
and
in
then
Turkey or where was that?
it's the
Turkey?
when we met Irma. Remember?
I thought that was so Bulgaria, bro. I thought it was
No,
Bulgaria, but you're right. That was Turkey.
that was Istanbul immigration line when we met
That's
Irma.
right.
Yeah,
We were moving there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh
I
yeah.
just
Awesome chick. Yeah.
Yeah, from Russia, I met her in immigration. The next thing you know, we're hitting up, but it wasn't planned. But we were there for like maybe 2-3 weeks. I was already shaking. I was like, I was having like a twitch. I was like, so it's like,
Going into convulsion. We jumped all
Strictly,
over. Yeah,
strictly,
jumped all over.
you both right now are manifesting withdrawal symptoms from all of the Viagra you took.
Not a
Oh.
day. Never. Not a pill.
Because
Ever.
strictly, it starts shaking after a week, and you barely remember. You are blacked out from all of the crazy times you guys had together. That's pretty obvious.
Believe it or not, we were pretty wide. I remember getting up. We had an apartment in somewhere. I'm not even gonna say where. Once we had an apartment in the middle of the night. I mean, I'm already doing my thing, chilling. In the middle of the night, I go out into the kitchen, and it's like several women with him. They're like, hey, not the orgy kind of thing like you would think, although it was that too. And,
okay. So, hey, brother, we got to give this show back to its purpose and the.
No, you're talking about delusional.
Because all they're going to do is flame us.
No, it's no.
It's
there's
going to about old men talking about war stories.
Don't control the narrative. Just let the narrative flow.
Hey,
Men
we're
get
here for
sex.
Passport After Dark.
Men get sex. That's just it. Now, the way you go about it and how you participate in that pursuit pretty much says a lot about, if this is going to be a degrading conversation or is it going to be uplifting. There's a lot of men out there who would love to be able to wake up in the middle of the night and there's a house full of women saying, hey, you're awake finally. Come on, let's go hang out. Men would love that. And they're not prostitutes. Or maybe they are. We didn't go there for that reason. And we didn't pick them up and pay them or any of that other stuff. Yeah. So what I'm trying to explain to you, people have great times and they're very free with their bodies and the way they think and they have fun. Now, is it something that I always participate in? No, absolutely not. But when I can, I do. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's healthy.
But that day you were chilling, so you
I didn't do anything that day. A house full of women. I mean, literally stark naked. House full of women. And I said, I'm cool tonight. Let me just watch and see what's going on. Have some fun. And that was it. So, self-control is very important too. I like to be with who I like to be with. I like to start my night out with somebody I like that I actually know or have gotten to know or trying to get to know or laugh with at least a few times. Instead of me just walking in a room and seeing a whole bunch of, tail, and then I'm just running after the next one that comes to me. I don't do that. Never have. I mean, I was one of those guys when I was married. I never cheated on my wife once. Never. And I had been a complete whore prior to marrying her.
Yep, that's true.
Never cheated on her not one time. But, that was just how I was built. So I don't go into any country looking for sex. The sex normally fine. I remember I was in the Congo and the equivalent of what would be their Miss Congo was after me every day. Am I lying, bro?
No, it's correct.
She's so beautiful. It was like crazy. And I just kind of put her off the whole time. And because, I was married. I was married there in that particular trip. So I wasn't doing it. And my ex-wife is gorgeous. So, and not just the looks, but, but at the time I wish I would have got with Miss Congo because she was awesome. Because we ended up getting
hit the wall, Norm? When did you hit the wall, Norm?
The wall of what? Let's be clear. The wall of what?
Well, that's the topic of tonight's program. Delusional aging passport bros refuse to accept that they have hit the wall. And that's been a topic.
No, I'm not delusional aging passport bro. That's the first thing. I'm not identifying with that group of people. And I'm asking,
when did you hit the wall?
What does the wall mean? that I'll
like
stop.
you got to that point. I think as it applies to Black men, ADOS men, Black men, including strictly men of the diaspora, let's say, when did you get to the point where paying for it was okay, even though you
I've
could
never
get
paid.
it?
I've never paid for it, so it's never been okay.
I think it also
Okay.
kind of means like when have you become washed up a little bit?
I've never become. I'm very relevant right now. Extremely relevant.
Chris, how
And I don't have that
ineloquent
problem.
of you.
No,
How
I'm
ineloquent
serious.
of you, my brother.
That's kind of what they mean. Like when they talk about women who hit the wall, it means a lot of different reasons. I think we were talking about hours ago. Sometimes it could mean because men have this fixation. It's multifaceted for the bullshit that they say it, but they say, oh, a woman over the age of 35 or the woman over the age of 30 is hit the wall. Sometimes they mean because she might not be as fertile. Sometimes I mean that they want to feel like the closer you are to 25, that's your peak beauty and you're so far away from it. So like it could be your looks. It could mean like at what point has your looks faded to the point where you're kind of washed? When have you physically, Zed brought it into she brought the fact that you could be physically washed. Like let's say if you your body is starting to break down, you're not able to play the basketball games anymore. You're not able to do some of the peak physical things anymore. Sexually, you're not, without the pills, did you ever become washed? Like it's just to the opposite sex. Are you competitive within the women?
That I like. Am I competitive within the community of women that
within the most within desirable women? Are you? When did you lose your desirability? I guess, or did that start to fade? If that started to fade,
I've been very fortunate. I think in my life, most women who've been with me over the decades and decades of being with women, I'll tell you, I'm very desirable to them, extremely. Women love strength. They love real men. They love having great conversation. They love someone who can teach them something and that will listen and learn from them. That's been my experience, and it still is my experience to this very day. To this very day, I've not hit a wall in a proverbial sense of what you just described. But things change throughout the entirety of your life at every milestone and every expressionate era in your life. Things change. Not only the women that you like, but the age of the women, the maturity of the women, your taste for a lighter skin or darker skin, or your taste for longer hair or shorter hair. All of these things metamorphosize with you. So if you stay in pace with who you are and how you communicate yourself to others, then you will never hit the wall. You could be, my father's 85, 86 years old right now. He's a handsome guy, my dad. And he's got a girlfriend like, what is she, 60? Killing it right now. And my dad has never hit a wall. So I don't see that as a possibility for me, even up until my deathbed, because I'm going to make myself, or keep myself, I should say, marketable and desirable. Because, who wants to be with somebody that nobody else wants to be with? Who? So I look to be with the person that everybody wants to be with in that category. That same chick that I liked when I was 20 is not the same chick that I like at 40 or at any other age. So if you are consummate in yourself and you're a complete man, then you'll never not be marketable. And you won't need your passport to get laid. You could do it. I do it in the States. I do it in different countries. It doesn't matter where I am. And I can tell you for strict, same thing. It don't matter where we are. We women and women, period. And that's the way it should be. But we get hooked on these lines of travel and communication where we go to these countries and we look for ass. And that's all we, ever strive to do while there, or not look for ass, like in your particular case. We do these things, but we pigeonhole ourselves when we do that. I don't. I never do that. I think it's
that was a good question. I guess. I mean, first of all, I've never asked my question. I've never asked myself that question to see if I hit the wall or not, because luckily until well, I've been quiet for the past 2 years, I would say, because me, at the difference of Norm is he has always been a faithful guy. Me, it's different. I have a woman per jurisdiction. Where I go, meet a girl, and I'm into relationship the length of time I'm in that country. So I mean, I was in Dubai for X amount of time. I always with someone the time because I don't like to be by myself. That's me. And then I've always been that way. I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing to. I mean, not to be faithful, but
it's more cultural for you. It's more cultural for you.
To me, it's normal. I mean, when I was in Turkey, I met this. I was in Dubai, I met this. So to me, that's pretty much. So hitting the wall so far is something that, like, I'm still capable of being a woman without paying and being a really meaningful relationship. So I think I don't know. I think it hasn't applied to me, and so far I'm able. Yes.
I wanted you to finish. I did have a question if I could jump in.
Yes, I said so far I'm able to pretty much be with a woman that fits my requirement, so
absolutely.
I don't know. I think maybe it's a mental thing in the wall. It just I think so, I don't think it's I don't know. And that I never asked myself that question really. I mean, it never came to my mind, to see if I hit the wall, so.
I think you answered my question just then. Do you see a wall in your future? And I suspect that you feel no. I don't.
I don't. You know what? I never asked myself that question, nor I foresee that it's something that just doesn't come to my mind to me or what the way. I mean, I have a very simple philosophy. I live the present. And then I live today like it's my last day, and I've been living like this ever since. To me, if I work hard and I play hard, of course within limits.
Oh, yeah.
I don't limit myself at all. As long as it's okay with my conscious, So to me, my consciousness to me, I'm good with it. As long as it's okay. I mean, I'm okay with it. So. I don't see it. And it never came to my mind, eating a wall. I don't even ask myself that if I will eventually reach that level. I don't know.
It's called an exit of life.
Yeah, I don't.
You start to exit when you start thinking about your own degradation. I mean, you start believing in your own degradation. I mean, it's sexually, physically, mentally, financially, whatever. When you start thinking in that woe is me shit and crap, you start doing that. You this delusional aging passport. First of all, because I'm new to these forums, what the hell is a passport bro? Is that okay? Go ahead, tell me straight.
Well, it's quite interesting. Really, passport bro are mainly Westerner who go abroad looking for love because supposedly non-Western women are less. I mean, they are more submissive. They're still traditional. Like that's why they go to the DR, which is still in the West. So I don't know. People don't.
Right. It's not like 400 miles from the coast.
Yeah, it's still the West. It's still Western Hemisphere, but that's just a parenthesis. So it's a concept. I mean, thinking that women from abroad are more conservative, more submissive, and that's what they're looking for, trying to get away from feminism and all those new things. So those are pretty much in the ballpark. What is a passport bro? And at the end, what we see, passport bro are nothing but paying. Bro that go abroad and pay for sex.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I get it now. So these are guys that go out and they're hounds for ass, basically, and they go from country to country getting laid. Yeah, that's.
Good
But
brothers.
see,
Yeah.
if you took away,
And if I could interject really
there's
quick,
a little
Michael.
bit more.
you can. But I just want to respond to Strick real quick
Okay.
on that, because we're talking,
And-
because we traveled to a lot of these places together for the same thing. But if that's what you're looking for, I'm sorry, sex and women and partying happen as an additional factor to whatever reason I'm somewhere. I'll go to cut a deal. I'll go to talk, speaking to a lecturer, whatever I'm going for. That's my main purpose. But if the opportunity for sex and partying and fun and all that happens as a result, then yeah, I'm going to have a ball. But if you go there with just that on your mind, that's a hell of a low-minded person. Very low-minded and viscerally disconnected with life and people, and that's a shame. I mean, it's like when you get most women who tell me the problems that they have in the bed with their men is that they'll get theirs and roll over and forget about them. That's what that is. Passport Bro represents that to the world of travel, and that's a shame. That is a damn shame.
Well, it all started. So your real name is Michael? Because I think you were going by
Yes,
like.
it is.
Well, okay, cool. Because
You can call me anything. I was being anonymous because you guys were, but my real name is Michael.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, good point. So it really started. My introduction to this was it became a TikTok social phenomenon and just red pill social and manosphere social phenomenon where these guys were yearning and they were crying. I mean, like Jodeci crying in a desert, talking about we can't find wives. We're looking for wives, and we're gonna have to leave the country to find a wife because these women are 304s. These women are non-traditional. These women. What else? They're ran through.
Competitive.
They're ran through. They're like you said. They're masculine. They are just we can't find wives because this culture. And the women are just ran through and they're just used up. They're hit the wall and all this other stuff. So and we can get more bang for our buck overseas. So they were using a lot of we want to get more bang for our buck kind of stuff. And it's cheap. It's not they were saying it's not that we're broke. It's not that we can't get women in the States. It's not that we can't afford it. This is the best and the brightest. They want to go leave the country to go to these red light districts that we would eventually find out about. That they would leave for these Thailand, Philippines. They're not going over to Paris. They're going over to places where women don't really have a lot of rights, apparently. And it's really just I really believe that this was just a movement, kind of like All Lives Matter compared to Black Lives Matter. It was really a movement, in my opinion, to just nag and put down Black women until guys started to tap into kind of their primal nature that I think both of y'all were talking about and saying, oh, look, we could get our passports and get sex. And then they started going over there and becoming the mongers that they truly were. But and that took a life of his own. And now you have a lot of influencers who now influence these men. And so the one thing that needs to be said is this is a covert Republican alt-right pipeline. So a lot of these men, Black men, it started from the black. This movement started from the Black manosphere, but there are some, I guess. Well, I think it's mostly Black men. These men are being sucked up into this alt-right conservative white Christian conservative pipeline to really get them voting more conservative.
Sort of a brainwashing.
Yes, there's a lot of brainwashing that, hey guys, listen, the women over here in the West, they're not even as beautiful as the women over here overseas, and they're not as sexy. A 10 over here in the States, that's just average over there in the other countries. So it's really kind of taking the Black man, in my opinion, out of the home and getting him to look, another trick to make him think of, no, the Black American woman, she's just average. She's got a bad pH balance.
Nothing to see over here.
Yeah,
nothing to see over here. Look over there.
There's nothing to see over here. The women over there are going to sleep with you on the first date. Look, they're better women. They just understand what you want when you want to hit on them and just tell them that they're sexy and you want it right now. You don't have to put in as much effort because over here they're going to sleep with Pookie. They're going to sleep with Pookie right off top, but they're going to make you wait. But if you go over to Brazil, they're going to sleep with you on the first night. Why they're doing that? That's a whole podcast episode. So it's like there's a lot of bullshit. and these a lot of these passport bro guys, but I would exclude BA and I would exclude Flint. These guys are just bullshit artists. They don't really want to admit that when they're going over there, they're sleeping with a 5. They're sleeping with they're calling people in the States ran through, but then they're going over and they're sleeping with tramps who probably sleep with 500 people a year at least. So it's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot.
Yeah, I agree with
And
you,
these
because
guys
that's
are
what I
broke.
normally
These guys
see.
are broke. That's the other thing. They're not really high earning. So I was like, it was perplexing to me. I was like, what kind of desirable man is talking like this?
Exactly.
They're not desirable. What kind of high earning man is talking like this? They're not high earning, I don't think. What kind of man that knows how to that appreciates women is talking like this? What kind of man who knows how to date a woman properly is talking like this? And it's not. It's a lot of these men are conservative, so they're shooting themselves in the foot on that. They hold misogynistic beliefs. That's a mainstay. So a lot of them don't see women as equals. They see them as substandard, human beings. Just it's the men. The culture is shifting. This country is shifting as women are starting to become more educated and becoming more independent. And the men who hold these archaic, fossil, 1920-ish type of beliefs, they're getting left behind. And the men who are just sex seeking in this day and age, they're getting left. Their pool of opportunities are getting dried up. It's like if you watch the African Serengeti, and like the swamp just becomes like a little pond, just becomes like just a tiny little thing. It becomes a mud pond or whatever. That's what these dudes are dealing with. So they're kind of like the outcasts, and they're just the sexual outcasts. I always joke about it, and I say like these are guys whose genes were gonna die off anyway. They're just having a swan song. They're just having a ball with it. So that's how I see it. Like they can't cut it in the States.
Shots fired at
real
you.
men do real things.
And
Real
they
men
don't
do
want
real
to.
things.
They don't want
Shots
to
fired at you, Norm.
No. And
Again?
they don't want to acknowledge. It's not that they can't get women in the States. These are men who are like, I'm a 4 out of 10, but I'll be damned if I can't sleep with a 9 or a 10. Now, if you are trying to aim at a 9 out of 10 and you're strictly a 4 or a 5 or a 5 or lower out of 10, I don't understand why you're a passport bro, because you won't date on your level. They can easily date on the level, but they don't want to realize that on their level is not as much of an attractive woman. They want the women that the NBA players are getting. You're not an NBA player, so you can't get them. So it's just a lot. It's a lot. They just don't want to accept their level.
But a caveat to that, I think, is that I have seen around the world a lot of this, where the ugliest dude in the room, the most uncouth guy, the nastiest looking guy will walk out with the baddest chick, period, or come with the baddest chick. Remember we were in Argentina, bro, Strick, and a few other countries where we walk in and we see this lady so beautiful, and then we look at her man, we go, how did that happen?
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Oh my God, that happens a lot. And I think there's a reason for that. Because like I said earlier, women like strength. They like a person with character. They want somebody who's read a book. They want someone who can teach them something, or have forgive me, a sexual slong that they can put down well and satisfy her, and then wait to be satisfied. That's how women like it. They want to be satisfied, and then they want you to wait to be satisfied. And that's okay if you can control yourself enough to do that. And these kinds of things women look for, and they'll end up with the 4 or 5 and happy. They will. I've seen it all over the world in every culture, and happy. Because I remember just a couple of days ago, I looked at this one lady, and I looked at her husband. They were like from Sweden or somewhere like that. And this lady literally could be like Miss World. She was so beautiful. And her husband looked like a troll, a literal troll, like he just came out from under a bridge. But when I heard their family laughing and joking, their kids and her, and they had some beautiful kids, by the way, and just having a ball, it seemed like every step they took in life, they were just having it. He became extremely desirable to her because of those things that he projected. And maybe he had money too, who knows? But he was still marketable, and he hadn't hit that wall. That happens too. But for people who are out looking for sex as their primary motivation, they're going to find dogs. Because most women think higher of themselves than that. They just do. They don't try to project themselves as prostitutable. They just don't. And so that's and I'm glad you made that point, bro. and I since I don't know how to get the name tags to say anything here, so I couldn't even tell you what to say, brother.
I'm new to
What-
YouTube. I'm trying to get that too. Let me see if I can find out how to do
Yeah,
it.
I have no idea. I'm Michael, but anyway.
I'm Chris.
All right, Chris. But I'm just saying to you, in that regard, everybody has somebody or several somebodies. If you just stop looking for them, they'll find you. I think that is the point I'm trying to make. And for these passport bros to just say, okay, I'm not getting laid at home, so I'm gonna go overseas to get laid. That's retarded. That's just retarded.
Well, yeah, I mean, these are the guys who are like, they could get women in the States probably. Some of them can't because they hold like really, they're stacking the Uno deck with all these negatives of, hey, you're conservative, you're alt-right, you are
exactly.
You're nihilistic, you're anti-black. How are you a black man but you anti-black and you think you're gonna get women in the States and you're a conservative?
I hate those guys. I call those golly niggas. Golly niggas.
So
that's what they are. I can't stand those people.
It's like I'm trying to lose my point, but it's like some of these dudes could get women in the States, but they hold this belief of like they gotta nail the highest thing smoking, and it's like, dude, your years are past you. You can't get some of these men can't. The red pill tries to sell this thing like, oh man, as they get older, they become more desirable. Come on, guys, we can all admit on this panel that's maybe like 5% of men, and it comes with money. It comes with very great looks. It comes with you might have to have some physical attributes or some je ne sais quoi, and not every man is gonna have that. Not every man is gonna have that. So I'm trying to think about more things about these losers, but for the most part, yeah, it's like no, I'm dead serious. Like I'm a competitive guy, and I've tell people it would take an extinction level event for me to leave Atlanta. This is a hotbed for men who want to be, for men who love women. It is a hub.
Because there's so many gay men there that it leaves so many single women out there. It's crazy. Sure. I love Atlanta.
Well, even besides that, even if we didn't have that, and those people are great people, the average man, no matter where you go, is lazy. So when I got divorced, I almost 3 years ago, come December, I was surprised to see how low the bar is in dating, specifically for black women. The black women have set the bar embarrassingly low, and I'm a high effort, impulsive type of dude. So like, I'm always trying to like make sure the woman has like an equitable experience and has fun on the date too. And I'm patient. I'm extremely patient. So I would get so many compliments of like, man, you're so patient. Wow, you completed a date and you set up a date. And I'm like, what? The dudes aren't setting up dates. They're not taking y'all on dates. That some dudes are taking women on dates and saying, how many times do I got to take you on a date before I can sleep with you? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I don't want. So it's like a lot of the average man, Michael, is uncouth, and that's why I think that's one of the reasons why these men have these woes is they're not realizing what are the guys who are successful with women. What are they doing? They're not they're probably not uncouth, or they probably have some je ne sais quoi, or they probably have something that is that the women find attractive. Like you were saying, they're attracted to strength. Sometimes I think I've gotten compliments saying, so the other thing, they're getting trapped up into this macho man / alpha male pipeline. Like, you need to be like Andrew Tate. You got to be able to smoke cigars with a 6-pack with your shirt off. You got to drive the fresh and fit philosophy. You got to have the fancy sports car. You got to have the sexiest woman of all time in your city or something. That you want to get the fastest woman. You got to get her in bed. You want to sleep with 50 women. And it's like, men are being sold a lot of bullshit. We've been sold about the same bullshit throughout centuries. But I think the men who are able to break free of this herd mentality, they're winning. Now, the men who are stuck in this herd mentality, they're losing. They're going straight to the slaughterhouse, which is kind of like these conspiracies, theories. This feminism is. Here's the thing: these guys are getting run off the country because of feminism. Not all women are feminists. Some of these women are just they don't believe in that. Some people just want to just have genuine symbiotic relationships with women. Or maybe that might not even be the word, but genuine, loving relationships with men.
No, symbiotic is the exact word.
Yeah, I use it from Venom, so I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be the right context.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But they want to have genuine relationships and romantic relationships. They want to be courted. So a lot of these men, like, they are jealous of what women have. They're jealous that this perceived hot girl summer of, oh my gosh, when these women were 20, they could have got any man they wanted because they were their hottest, they were their hot girl in their hot girl summer. They want like this whole manosphere thing. It's like they're trying to like cultivate a male a hot boy summer where it's like, oh my gosh, when you get older, you're gonna hit a financial peak, you're gonna become the most desirable, you're gonna be able to nail the best women. You just need to get to the money, you just need to get, you just need to preserve yourself and all this other crap. And it's just a fantasy. Women are gonna have more opportunities than men on average, and that's not even really we're not even really talking about the most attractive ones. That's never going to change. Now, there are some guys who are outliers, and they're going to be able to kind of tilt that scale. They're going to be able to they might be on the top of that food chain or whatever. But men have got to understand. I've said on these panels, I sampled this guy named Ron Wills who says you need to know your tribe. He also talks about select and non-select. But I always tell on these panels, I'm like, you need to know your tribe. You need to know what is the demographic of women that really love you, that really find you attractive for who you are besides your money. If I tell people all the time, when I got out and started dating post divorce, I was like, I could literally be a UPS truck driver and I would still be desirable to the women that find me attractive because they like me for who I am as a person. It's not the money. The money helps. I'm not going to say it's not. It would make things a lot harder for me to date, but it's the personality. It's the fact that I'm patient. It's the fact that I don't treat them with this body count energy of you should be ashamed that you've had sex with more than 6 people. I don't want to know your body count. I want to see some Cirque du Soleil shit. I don't want to know how you got it. I don't want to know how many times you had to do it to get it. I want to see some I want to see some stuff. I want but
swing from the chandelier.
Right. I want to see. I would joke around. I would say like I want to see the upside down Chun-Li helicopter move. I want to see something. But like these dudes are shaming these women. The notion of the body count is ridiculous to me. It seems it screams immature boy because a woman having the same sexual experience as you should not be a turnoff, in my opinion. I think that's where men are getting fucked up. They're saying, hey, I want to go sleep with 30 to 50 women, but a woman who slept with more than 6, she's a whore. She's destroyed. She's disgusting. It's like, yeah, but you guys, so that they're leading with this men are men and they just have the desires to have sex. Okay, that's fine, but there are women who have high sex drives too, so you can't put all these women in the same box. So so these dudes want to have all the sex they want to have, but then they disconnect themselves from like, hey, the girl for you might be the woman who's got just as much sexual experiences as you. Why do you want to have the purity wife? You don't deserve and you don't qualify for the purity wife in most cases. So men are being fed
That's why most men screw around, because they have the purity wife and they want to go out in the street and be with a slut.
Right.
That's why most men screw around, and people don't get that. Right. I'd rather have an experienced woman as my wife than some chick I got to teach everything to.
That's what I'm saying.
I've been there, done that. Did the teaching thing. All you're doing is preparing her. All you ever do, exactly. All you have to do is prepare for somebody else. That's all you're doing.
A purity wife is great. I had one, and there's nothing bad about that. But now being out here now, I'm like, you know what? The problem with teaching someone something, and listen, I was a purity husband. Let's be clear about that. But now that I'm out here now, I'm like, I don't want to teach anybody anything, because in the process of teaching someone something, you might come across something that you really like, and they might say, that's just not my thing. I want the woman who already comes together and is like, yo, that's my thing too. That's what I want. So you think that's your thing? That's my thing actually. So I want that. But besides that, like these are men who they don't know a lot. I've been hearing this for years, even when I was married, about how men who felt uncomfortable for women making more money than them, and that was always weird as fuck to me. My wife made more than I did. It can sometimes, it does change the dynamics a little bit, but you have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and say, I'm confident, I'm working really hard, I'm proud of where I've gotten myself to be. Like I said on a panel with Richard, I said, what if you find the woman of your dreams and she ends up becoming the mayor of the city, or she becomes the vice president of the country? Are you gonna feel like, oh, I can't be with her anymore? I mean, no. You just have to kind of accept it as fact, and you just have to kind of say like, hey, well, you know what? She's got that. She's gonna outpace me probably forever. And you have to. And some men can't feel confident in that. And so when women are starting to become more educated today, it's just grinding their gears. That's when they have this saying of, I don't care about your degrees, because they're trying to tell women, like, they're kind of almost like, it's bullshit on two fronts, because it's like, you get married to that woman, buddy, you're gonna want that extra 150K. You're not gonna be like, I don't care about your money, I don't care about your degrees. You're gonna want that money. You're gonna care about that damn degree. But they're trying to discourage these women from getting educated. I don't like this notion of like, the more educated woman is less desirable than is less desirable. That, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I look at it, or it might not be bullshit for them, and I think that they're living a bullshit life. I just think, for me, I look at it and I say, I want a woman. I look to a woman and I say, I want those traits to be in my kids. I don't want to give a really pretty woman who's dumb as rocks, because then my kids are gonna be dumb as rocks. So, but these men got things. They got it backwards. They're just chasing the 25-year-old smoke show, and I'm like,
You mentioned it earlier, though.
Yeah.
You made the good point that they're lazy.
Yeah.
Most men don't want to succumb to a woman, but at the same time, they don't want to rise to the occasion either.
Right.
And I think that is what the biggest problem is in relationships, and that's when abuse in a relationship starts, because people start to date out on each other. They start to hurt each other because they don't appreciate where they are in life in that particular Western culture. But in other parts of the world, it's normal for a guy to have 3 wives and 2 girlfriends, literally. I mean, and there's none of the conflict, the jealousy. Maybe there's a little bit of jealousy every now and then, but they're not looking to make standard a certain type of woman, whether she's high, low, left, or right, because they use the family and the community to help cultivate those women. Right now, men denigrate Black women because this is a fact. 2/3 of all Black people who are getting educated right now are women.
Right.
2/3 are women, and men are not there. Yeah, they have to go out and get the job. Yeah, they have to go out and do the menial labor, the manual labor, and all that. Of course they do. But at the same time, there's online schools, there's night school. You have to keep in pace with your relationship or you'll get out of pace. And I think that's what frustrates men the most in their relationship, because the women will always be looking for a way to excel and move forward, while a man will remain stagnant, looking for something that isn't there, or maintaining something that isn't enough to keep that life going forward. And I think that that's a big part of it. And even if both people are low-minded in a relationship, as many relationships are very low-minded. They look at the basic needs of everything, and they're never aspiring to do anything outside of their community, or travel, or further educate themselves, or to further educate their kids. They're just looking for whatever that status quo may be. I think that's a problem, but it's also a means to remain compatible. If you're low-minded and you're looking for low things, and she's low-minded looking for low things, you're going to probably get along. Not that, and I'm not being insulting when I say that, but people have to know their station, and they have to also know the people around them in their station, and they'll pretty much see their own path once they can recognize that.
Yeah, they talk about women being hypergamous, and maybe there might be some truth to that. But I also argue, I think men are too, because they refuse to date on their level. They like you said, if they just settled into like the woman who was just like them, who was on their level, they could be happy. But they're very promiscuous, but they want the purity wife. They're very promiscuous. They want the woman who's not. They want it's weird. It's like, if you look at the manosphere, they tell men, don't date the educated woman. Don't date the woman who's got a lot of degrees. Don't date the woman who makes a lot of money. They call them boss babes. The women who are going to basically make more than you. Don't date the woman who's got a kid. Don't date a single mom. Don't date women who are overweight. Don't date women who are over 30, 35. They've hit the wall. Don't date women with high body counts that ran through. It's just like, don't date American Black women in a lot of cases. So it's like, these men, when you take off all those women off the table, they're pursuing like the most desirable women, and most men are going to strike out on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, you have to be very competitive. You have to be very competitive, and these guys aren't really able to admit like where is their compatibility, their competitiveness on the scale of 1 to 10. They still they don't recognize that like their competitiveness is like a 1 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10. It's not that they can't improve themselves and become stronger in that category, but like for starters, if you feel like you need to emulate other men to be competitive with women, you're kind of already shooting yourself in the foot. I'd come out there and I'm being myself. and I'm being unique, and I'm not. They're not gonna. A manosphere dude is what do they say? A dime a dozen. You can find a misogynistic dude a dime a dozen. You can find a low effort dude a dime a dozen. I challenge the guys: be high effort within your means. You are not going to, and know your tribe. Know the women who really find you attractive, not just looking through a Jet magazine or looking through the internet and saying, "Oh, what does every other guy find attractive?" Stop trying to date. In my opinion, stop trying to date. Stop trying to turn this into a pissing contest of who's got the hottest girl. Does Michael think my girl's hot? Who gives a fuck if Michael thinks my girl's hot? If Michael doesn't understand why I'm attracted to this
My
girl,
opinion does matter every now and
right?
then. No, I'm just go ahead. I'm just messing with you.
Like, get
I
with the
understand.
woman where you have something special with her. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't. It's not. Everyone else isn't dating your woman. Everybody else isn't going to be in the bedroom with your woman. They're not going to be able to experience that. So it's just like these dudes. And then you got throwing the traditional values into the mix. Now they want to have traditional values, but they can't really afford these traditional values. They want their plate fixed. They want to be King Farouk. That's what they want that. And they're some of them don't have the money to do that. I really would like someone to quantify what is that take, and I think it's about a $180 plus, and then you can be in King Farouk territory. But like these dudes, they're nowhere close to that.
That is very true.
So they go overseas to stretch their money so that they can be King Farouk. But they're not going to get King Farouk treatment because those women don't respect them because they're not also going to give respect to those foreign women.
Yeah, but they don't understand King Farouk philosophy either, in most cases. But what I think is happening though is our expectatives that we have from one another have been greatly distorted. I think not only through our own psychological operations that we commit to one another and within our culture, because that era of competitiveness is out of whack. I mean, you walk into a place, you got the most beautiful woman probably in the place, or in just her looks and her personality and her career. She's a very attractive woman. And oftentimes I hear black women to other black women resent her. And then men who want to disrespect you so they can talk to your girl, which is okay. You should be secure enough that any man should be able to talk to your woman without you getting all out of sorts if you're in a proper kind of relationship where she respects you. And I think that that's the number one reason why relationships within the black community fail, because we don't oftentimes, and most communities, because respect isn't their underlying theme for everything. And everything you do in a relationship, even if you're just having a one night stand, respect that woman and let her respect you. Make sure that is a part of the equation. Once you have respect, everything else is possible. You can leave and say, baby, it was nice hanging out with you. I really enjoyed. We had a great dinner. We had a great time. Hey, may never see you again, but hey, I'm practicing to be the better man I'm going to be tomorrow with whomever comes next. And, women appreciate that. I have found over the years, because I've had a whole bunch of one night stands, but, I found that if you respect them and you treat them well, they remember you as somebody valuable. And somebody who they bring up in inferences and suggestions in the future. Like, yeah, I've dated this guy once, this Michael guy. Real cool dude. Been around the world, know a lot of stuff. We talked about everything. Too bad he wasn't the marrying type. These are the kind of conversations women have about me. And they call me sometimes, or I see them in passing and they'll say, hey, yeah, we talked about you just the other day. Those are the kind of things men should strive for. It's not how you are as yourself or as a persona. What is not how you are, is what are you projecting to these women from your core? And I think that men don't get in contact with or connection with their core as often as they should, and project the strength and the character and the funniness and the commonality and the appreciation. One of the things, I'm glad I just threw this spewed out of my mouth. One of the things I'm finding women love more than anything else is being appreciated.
Right.
Being appreciated. If you could just, even if you don't agree, appreciate it. Just appreciate that they have an opinion, that it matters. Women love that, and they will be your friend, even if you can't be a sexual or an intimate partner. They will be your friend, and they may introduce you to the woman of your life, but you'll never get there if all you're looking for is a piece of ass and you're not appreciating the person that you have before you. Now, I'm sorry, guys. It's getting late here in the day. I got some stuff to do. It's 9 a.m. already here in Dubai. But I'm real interested. I love this conversation. And there's Flip. There's Flip right there. Okay. How you doing, brother? Is that Flip?
No,
No.
that's Strictly.
No. Strictly. No. The fist dude.
Oh, that's Richard.
Richard. Oh, you changed it. Okay. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I just
Richard.
you
changed. What the hell we doing?
I flipped it up. You guys
Right.
and ladies have had enough time to look at my beautiful face, and I will release the audience to you gentlemen to land the plane. And I've been listening very closely, and I really think that it may be possible, either on this platform or channel or mine or any one of you folks up here, we should do a men's forum,
right,
and stop hijacking Zed's channel. The feminists don't like it, brothers. The girls don't like that. The ladies don't like that. That's not game. So we need to step off and get our own little thing going on, and ask and invite Zed up. Take the burden off her shoulders. Talk about Black women. They carry the load. We all know that. So why don't we set up a separate stream and simulcast it?
Yeah. I need to get my channel off the ground.
No, you don't. All you got to do is come on to my channel. If you'd like me to do it, I'll do it. I was going to send out an APB to the folks who normally come up to this channel and say, hey, how about we do like a men's forum and invite the ladies up?
Mm-hmm.
And when it gets a little dark in the afternoon, wherever you are, we can put on It's Ladies Night by Kool and the Gang. And maybe continue this forum without hijacking someone else's. Because the topic, once again, delusional aging passport bros refuse to accept that they have hit the wall. I'm living off.
I'll talk to you soon. Good listening to you guys today. Got to roll. Talk to you later.
Peace and love.
Take care.
You out?
Yeah, I got to roll, bro. I got a couple people here I need to deal with.
Okay, cool.
All right, bro.
Michael has left the building. Chris, thank you for hanging in there. I know it's late. Strictly, I'm not even sure what part of the world you're in. Thank you for hanging in there. And thank you, Zed.
Right now,
everybody in the chat. This is what building a network is about. Maybe we can get together and make this thing bigger than big.
I love this, and this kind of stuff. Like when I get my channel together, I want to talk about stuff that's even beyond Passport Bros. I think that I want to see men and women talking together. I want to see men and women kind of talking amongst themselves about stuff, because I think that's how we have the manosphere and the Passport Bros. It's a bunch of losers that the real men, the real women, their voices are not shining louder than the losers, because the losers have more of a community together. They have the numbers, and for whatever reason, I think maybe because of generations of older men not setting the wrong standards for younger men, we have now gotten to a place where like gentleman is not the end thing to do. It's a simp. It's doing too much. You are bending over backwards. Like, no, that's the standards. The standard should be being a gentleman. Now, I think a lot of men have, in my opinion, and we'll get back to the topic. I think, in my opinion, a lot of men their taste has degraded over the generations. Now that they're attracted to kind of like what people would kind of characterize as the hood booger, or the low effort, the low pedigree woman. There probably was a day when high pedigree men were attracted to high pedigree women in the Black community. I think
there was, Chris. Yeah, there was a day.
It's degraded. Now they're after. If you're worried about what she's doing with Pookie, you're messing around with the wrong women. That you're already on the wrong foot. But let's bring it back to the topic. So delusion of men accepting they hit the wall. I think we need to. This is something we need to talk about in Passport. I mean, in podcasts, we need to acknowledge that, and to some degree, men do hit the wall. They just do to a degree. Like some men, yes, they'll be able to stand the test of time. They'll be able to defeat Father Time to a good degree. But most men, I I think I've heard it from women where they say like a man doesn't settle down till he's like got a health issue or he's waiting for like a woman to be like a caretaker or whatever. And that's basically a man who's hit the wall. And there's truth to that. There are a lot of guys who really, they just go out and play the field until they can't anymore, or just something takes them off the field, and then they start to want to settle down.
You know what I think, Chris, though, and as we land this plane, I'll leave with this. I really would. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do a live because I can, and I want to invite you up. I'm going to communicate with you through Zed because I have her email address, and we're just going to have like an open forum discussion. But the fact is, and I said this in several comments about this new wall meme, hit the wall meme. That's all the rage on the internet, breaking the internet, hit the wall. I would like to talk about some of the times I hit the wall, but I punched through.
Okay.
I broke through. And I think that's something that is missing from some of this narrative and dialogue, is that a discussion, especially with somebody as educated and trained like Michael of Norm Therapy, shameless plug, but getting those kind of conversations had rather, not necessarily on Zed's channel when she wants to do her feminism thing, but inviting her up as a guest, and Femi and all the other sisters.
Right.
Linda Patton, salute my sister for your service. Pulling up Strictly Travel, having Zed involved to speak from the broader scope of the African diaspora. Those are necessary conversations. Doesn't have to be on my channel. I know yours is not up yet. Norm Therapy has a great channel. This would be a good place to have those conversations. Right. But one of the things I think that should be a part of that narrative is the breakthrough. We've forgotten that word because we have breakthroughs all throughout life. There is a wall in your mind only, a place that you think, I can't get past this man. She cheated on me. He cheated on me. Wow, they took all my money. And yet you woke up the next morning. What a difference a day makes. And you find yourself back on your path. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think we need to talk about the breakthrough. If there's a wall, it's only in the individual's head. If you hit a wall, what do? Do you break through, or you just stay behind it? Because I might need Norm to come and dig me out from behind this wall I'm on. Yeah. But like Michael Jackson said in 1978, I'm living off the wall. Right. There's no walls. If there is, punch through it.
Or pivot.
Somewhere in time, we need to have that conversation and invite up some of the fans and friends of Zed's channel and let Zed be a moderator. Let's figure that out. If I could put that out and we'll figure out a date and time, I'd love to do that.
Right. Sounds awesome.
I really appreciate you, brother.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity. I would love to be on that kind of panel. I love the discussions. I love to talk. I love to hear other people's passionate perspectives and stuff like that. I love to learn. I tell people all the time, like, the whole passport bro thing, I think I find them fascinating. Like I find them fascinating to, like, as a weird, as like an oddity. Like they're just weird. Like I just love to, like, learn more about them. Like they're just, I think they always existed for generations. I think for centuries. I think that in the 1950s, this golden age that they want to go back to, they were incels, but they didn't have the internet to band together, so that they kind of like had to age gracefully, or they had to just kind of like be ostracized. But in this weird day and time, the ostracized people can kind of band together and feel like, no, we are the superior. We're powerful. And it's like, you guys have numbers, but you're really still losers. Because you guys are doing the most. Like, you guys, you're fleeing the country, and we cannot shy away from that. They are not just leaving casually; they're fleeing the country from
I had fled the country though, Chris. I did, because not even Atlanta is nice anymore.
Not for the same reasons.
Yeah. I think it's going to get ugly come November this year.
Yeah, that's what people are saying, but and it might, because I think we're gonna be in for a surprise. We're gonna really get to see how much damage the red pill and the conservatives have been doing to the Black community this November. I hope we don't. It's gonna set a new low if Donald Trump is able to win, minus with all the stuff he's gone through this year, it's gonna really be set a new low. But what the problem is with that, Richard, is no matter whether Trump wins or not, these dudes romantically and sexually, their lives aren't going to get any better. If they get rid of these, if they get rid of no fault divorce, it's just going to make things harder for them. If it's going to make things easier, it's going to make things easier for the guys who actually want to give women an equitable experience. The men who are actually the most desirable, it's just going to make them more desirable. The women who, when they get rid of when they make abortion, even more when they take that away even more, it's just going to make things, and the day after pill, when they take that away, or if they took that away, it's just going to make things harder for them. Like low effort men, PSA, spoiler warning, this is never going to get any easier for you guys. It's only going to get harder. So I preach to y'all to try to give high effort. The high effort men are never going to go out of style. They're never going to be out of demand. Because they're not a dime a dozen. The dime a dozen is the low effort man. And the women aren't falling for that bait anymore. They're not falling for those tricks. So, so like conservatives, they shoot themselves in the foot in so many different ways. They want women to just be barefoot and pregnant and submissive. That there's a problem with that, Richard, is all these things that these traditional men want, they can go find it in the States. What woman wouldn't
in the States?
What woman wouldn't take, or any other country? What woman wouldn't take a deal of, hey, stay at home, raise kids. I'm gonna pay for everything. I'm gonna make sure that you're happy. I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. I'm gonna go work myself to the bone, whether it's 1 job, 5 jobs, whatever the fuck. Any woman is gonna take that deal. If she's not gonna take that deal, she just doesn't probably like you. I mean, so these dudes, they want
she
to,
for the streets. If she don't want to take that deal, she for the streets.
Well,
and let her be there. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah,
Please continue.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm saying is like these guys they're so concerned about the divorce laws and the marriage laws and the child support laws, and a lot of these guys don't want to ever have kids. They're scared to death of kids. They're scared to death of marriage. They even if these divorce laws change and the women can never get divorced, they're not going to want you. And I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about the men who are low effort, who are undesirable. That's what these are. These men are highly undesirable for different reasons. And there's a war going on for low effort men who are trying to lower the bar even lower, and women who are trying to raise the bar. And the problem is with the low effort men, in my opinion, if they were successfully able to lower the bar, they're still not going to be happy, because what they desire is they want beautiful women with low self-esteem. And the problem is if you actually were to get that, you're not going to get her true beauty, because she's going to be so low self-esteem. She's not going to be putting in the effort to really showcase that. Her personality is not going to shine. Her beauty's not going to shine as much. So they want a lot for a whole lot of nothing. They don't want to put in any effort. They just want to fall in their lap. And they want genuineness, and they want a organic relationship on a budget. And it just doesn't work like that. You have to put effort in. A good marriage, you have to put effort in. It's hard. A good relationship, you have to put effort in. So like the last thing I'll say is these women to these men have kind of like beat them down, because they've kind of come in and out of their life like a layover, maybe like an hour, maybe a couple days, maybe a couple months, maybe a year, and then they got dumped on Christmas, and they think that that's just the way things naturally are. And I'm like, no, that shit doesn't happen to the average dude. I mean, the average dude he has plenty of options. They are not leaving him for a pookie. They're not dropping him at the drop of a dime. When a woman truly loves you, she is not going to want to leave you. So they feel like women, as long as they find a man who makes more money, she's willing to leave, no matter what.
Yeah, it's not really like that, Chris.
Yeah,
It's not really.
it's not.
It's not.
So they've
If you're a
never
real
really
man,
known true love. They've really never been truly loved.
yeah. I was going to suggest that myself. If you're a real man and you got your business handled a bit, it doesn't really take that much. And a woman's going to love you beyond the car, several great dinners, because, you know, I'm a simp.
Me too.
And simping for me is easy, because if God made anything better than a woman, he must have kept it to himself. So for me, simping is easy. Call me the simp God, if you like. I like simping. It got me way further in the game of love than not simping. All right, now, so that aside, so after the dinner dates and you bring her back to your crib, and it's like, oh my God, your crib is so neat, and wow, it smells nice, and wow, are you sure this is not your mother's house? All those kind of experience begin to unfold, and before you know it, here's a person who has fallen in love with you on the inside. All the trinkets from on the outside, yeah, that's the glitter of it all. But once you settle in with a good woman, and there are millions of good Black women in the States, I'm just out of the game. I'm not into dating. I don't want to experience that part of my life right now, because it's all about me. I'm very, very selfish now, because this is all I got left on the clock. That aside, a woman falls in love with you when she sees you're solid,
Right?
a real dude, a real man. Women settle way more than men do.
Right.
Men have a difficult time settling.
Right.
So much so that if they get tired of a girl or a woman after a time, they'll walk out on the woman, the wife, and the children. It's tough for us to settle, but women settle for us all the time, because that is their maternal nature. And some of that gets lost in all this sauce and discussion about who's right and wrong, who's good or bad. That'll pass in time. These forums will help that. I'm going to step down. I appreciate you, Chris, but I'm going to continue listening, because I get a little long with it.
You should say.
And I want to invite you and my main man, Strictly. But Strictly, if you come up to my panel, if I start it, you're going to have to get rid of that horrible avatar. I love you, brother. I'm just joking, of course.
Is that a
We'll talk
Dodge? Is that a Dodge Viper in that avatar?
That's a banana yellow Miata.
Okay.
I'm joking. Good night, gentlemen. Thank you, Zed.
No,
Blessings to the panel.
It's actually no, it's a Mercedes Benz. It's a Mercedes.
Nice. Richard,
Yeah.
Stay on the panel.
Yeah, I don't know what you do. Yeah, he's very knowledgeable, so he should have continue. Yeah.
Yeah, you should come back up, Richard.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't said a lot. You should. The floor is yours, Strictly.
Without Norman and Richard, it's yeah, been really hands-on things, you know. So yeah, and the more, I mean, it's like lots of those things are very cultural. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's to deal with. Yeah.
I'll say this before I let you have it. It's like, I think America and I think this world has done men a grave disservice by not telling them what all did the man bring to a household in the golden ages, because they always want to say, oh, he went to war, he broke his back, you know, work his hands to the bone providing, but they didn't really show the romantic side of that man. So like a lot of these men kind of feel like today, oh, all you gotta do is bring money. So that's why these Petro Bros, I feel like they feel like, oh, I could just be a complete man. I got enough money. My money's gonna stretch overseas, so I got everything they want. And it's like, no, like there's a romantic side, there's an emotional side. I was about to piggyback. I didn't want to interrupt Richard, but he was cooking with his point, saying like a woman's gonna fall in love with you, win, blah blah blah. And I was saying when she really sees who you truly are and likes it, she starts to fall. In my opinion, she starts to fall in love. Starts to take a liking to you. Like I've been saying on some of these previous podcasts. This one woman that I'm dating. I moved into this house recently in the last month, and last day we went on. She got me a basket of housewarming gifts. Pookie is not getting a basket of housewarming gifts. Pookie could have moved to an apartment 100 stories up. The woman ain't getting him shit, but saying, "Come over here, I'm gonna sleep with you, and then get the hell up out of here." So if that's what dudes want, they need to admit that, like, men like Fearless, who are so concerned about how fast Pookie's able to sleep with the woman, he needs to admit that he's a Pookie. I'm not worried about when I sleep with the woman. When the time is gonna be the time. It'll get there. It's gonna converge to that point. And you got, in my opinion, you gotta pick the right women. I'm not gonna pick a woman who's out to use me. I always say on these panels, like, I'm gonna vet that energy. And if I don't get the right energy, if the woman doesn't carry herself in a certain type of way, I'll just know she's not right. She's not here for the right intentions, or she doesn't fit my life in the right way. So I don't get myself into these quagmires of, oh my gosh, I got to compete with Pookie for romantic interest or for sexual interest. Nope. The women who I go after, they're not interested in the Pookie. I tell people all the time, when I'm in all the time, at my age 41, there are no Pookies, there are no Chads. They already have probably 2 or 3 or 4 kids. I'm 40 years old, no kids. There are no Chads that are sleeping with all the women, and oh my gosh, I gotta be so forlorn because all the women in the States are sleeping with Chad. No, they're not. They never were. It's speaking more to, like, the type of pedigree and type of age that these men are going after. And it speaks that they don't know their tribe. If you know your tribe, you should not be in a drought of romantic interests or opportunities. You shouldn't be. It speaks to you. Femi said it, and I'll close it with this. If you're struggling to find a good woman in the States, you're just not a good dude. And that's all it is. That's what the dudes have to kind of come back and look into the mirror and evaluate. Like, they have to realize, say, I'm not who I thought I was. I'm not a good dude. Why am I repelling so many women? Why am I going on 1 or 2 or 3 dates and the woman won't even let me walk her to her car? Why am I going on these dates and she's not really talking to me? Why is she leaving after, maybe dating her for a couple of months? Why is it never going anywhere? Why is she not featuring me on her photos? Why? There's so many whys. And it's not because of her. It's not just because of her. It's the guy too. You picked wrong. You are not maybe giving enough effort, and you're not as desirable as you think you are to this woman that you think you are attracted to. Like, a lot of these men, they lust after women that don't even find them attractive or very attractive, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is quite interesting because I have my nephew's getting married in next fall, and then he found his wife in the United States. So I have another nephew got married maybe like 2 years ago. So they're all getting married, and they sell a different narrative. But there is something we need to point out. I mean, my nephew's a college graduate, works and he has something to look for, and so I don't know. So I think those guys complaining, they're just not competitive. That's exactly what it is. They have nothing to offer, and they found the easy way out. And in terms of the narrative that there's nothing to look for in the state, no, you just don't measure up to those women, which is reality. Let's just say it how it is, because I've been observing those. Not to put anybody down, but I've been observing those pastor bro, the one alleging this and that. I mean, when you looked at them, you just wonder. I mean, what do we have to offer? That's sometimes that and it's easy to criticize and complain, but I don't see any substance on those guys in general. They just I mean, it just that's why I said my brother got married in the state. My brother's married to an American woman, my other brother as well. So there's plenty of family members, and they don't talk like that. They don't say anything, that nature, I have sister as well they are all married. So I don't know. So to me, I mean, honestly, it's something totally new. And then my older brother got divorced after 20, wow, maybe 28 years of marriage. But the reason being was I mean, wasn't because of black women dating black women, not at all. And he found himself now he's dating another woman, but in the United States. So I don't know. So to me, just this possible growth thing, it's like Norm said, he just played stupid. I mean, the whole concept of it, if you think about it, I mean, to me, just like it just, I mean, it's all bunch of brothers just look for the easy way out, and that's why I look at it. Hello, did I just lose you?
Sorry, I went on mute.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I like that point. I'm trying to put my mic back on.
Yeah, because that's what that's exactly. I mean, that's what I say that because to me that's make those things and I mean we're coming from. I mean, my nephews are. I mean, they were born in the United States from, of course, from foreign parents, of course, but it's not. They aren't completely the same. And the funny thing about it, like, think of my nephew. The dad is actually is British, but from Sudan originally, and of course my sister, which is she's Haitian, and her son, he has they are multicultural, but you don't hear them complain about him. I mean, and this she's American. I mean, I don't hear them complain about the same thing. He's really happy. So I don't know. So I think it just merge up to them. They just don't have they just don't have the attributes needed in order to compete, and that's pretty much it. And they go overseas. They're looking for where they can impress with a few dollars, and they think they found loves. And that's not the case. It just it's totally fallacious to even think that it's a reality. Because I never complained about American women working in the States. I didn't say. I've always said my first two wives were American, and we didn't get divorced because they were not feminine enough or they were not submissive. First of all, I don't look at submission. If you I look at I'm looking at a partner. I look at a companion in a relationship, so we can actually share. And what the issue I had with my actual wife was she was very complacent. I'm like, no, you have to, you have to empower yourself. You have to, you're capable of doing this thing. To make something, it's a good attribute instead of having just an ethics, just a statue, just just a yes sir, a yes sir. It's just nice. I mean, it's not challenging. I'm sorry. I want someone to challenge my idea, challenge my thoughts. And then to me, it makes the relationship more meaningful. I mean, I think. So to me, I mean, I love black American women. Say about it. So me personally, I think it's because here's the thing. I mean, lots of people say they want their women to make more money than they do. But if you think about it, I'd rather have a wife making as much as even more. So in case something happens, there's something to fall back on. You never know. But if you're the only bread maker, I mean, in case of emergency, I mean, we're going to sustain the whole house. So, so this is something they have to look at, they have to put in consideration, So, yeah, so definitely. So to me, it's just easy way out, just a way of just.
Exactly. And it's pathetic. It'd be a whole lot less pathetic if these dudes were just like, hey, I want some female companionship. I have needs. I want to go over there for sexual needs. Okay, fine. But they had to like start with this elaborate lie of like, I'm looking for wives. So it's like, buddies, you're on a time clock when you start talking about wives. Now, because like me, I say on these panels, like, hey, I'm trying to find a wife, I'm trying to start a family, and people are putting a time clock on me, rightfully so, because I put that shit out there. So they're saying, when are you gonna find? Why don't you get to it? Why don't you find this person? Why aren't you haven't got someone pregnant? So I wanted to respond to some of these texts and these messages. This dude, he's been trying to troll it up the whole time. Listen, OB32, if you think my dating advice is 8th grade, I'll tell you this 8th grade knowledge is working. I'm not having to flee a fucking country with, so it tells you, it shows you 8th grade esque advice is working out here in these streets. If that's the case. Linda Patton, she's been posting a lot of great things. She's saying single men 40 plus are looking for a woman to take care of them. Some of them are. I am, maybe most of them are. I'm trying to keep myself together. I said on these panels, I'm trying to start a family. Starting it late in the game. I'm not gonna act like it's not, but I want to. When I turned 40, I was like, I want to get into my best shape, my best physical shape. I want to and try to keep that together. 40 doesn't have to be, considered old. A lot of women a little older than me would say, hey, you're still a baby at 40. And I'm like, wow. I didn't really understand it when I would hear it, but I kind of understand. You don't have to look at being 40 and think of it as being old. Like, I always try to look at it and say, like, you're as old as, I guess, your mind is, or as your ambition is, and the work ethic. If you're not willing to learn anymore, if you're not willing to grow anymore, then yeah, you're definitely old. But I've heard this in essential, and I think I said a little earlier, where a lot of women will say, like, a man's not ready to settle down until he's ready for a caregiver. So yeah, I mean, and what she was saying, there's definitely truth to it. Men over 40 who are looking for a woman to take care of them, I feel bad for those women. But that's a good little post. This, Austin Hallman is a passport bro. He's a pro homosexual. I don't know about all this, Linda. I don't think he's broke. He's definitely not like Floyd. He's definitely not like some of these passport bros. First, that are struggling. First and foremost, I've said it on several panels. I'll say it again. Austin Hallman has a security detail. I think he's an industry plant. He's got money, and if you got a security detail, you have money. So I think the sad thing about this generation is this generation has funneled a lot of money into people who don't deserve it, people who maybe life is going to catch up to them at some point, whether it's from a legal standpoint, whether it's I don't know, maybe even a health standpoint, society reputation standpoint, family standpoint, or personal standpoint. Austin Hallman, I like to consider him to be an actor. And I said on one of the previous podcasts that I think he deserves an Oscar, at least a nomination for the type of acting he's doing, because he wants to act like, guys, it's just so hard to date in the States. I'm living in Texas, which is a southern state anyway. And I'm black. I have a 6-pack. I claim to have 3 barbershops, but I can't get a date in the States. Bitch, if I turn my Tinder right now to Houston, Texas, I'll be getting some hits. I'll be getting some dates right now. Strictly if we turned our Hinge, our Bumble, of our Tinders to Houston, Texas, or wherever the fuck he's from, we would be getting some hits right now. They wouldn't care where we live. They'd be like, hey, you know what? I'll see you in Atlanta. I'm coming to Atlanta for homecoming. Okay. But like, so Austin Hallman he's a fucking actor. He pretends, what he's trying to do is he's trying to fleece and mislead these incels and sell them despair that, oh my gosh, guys, it's so fucking hard to date in the States and the women are unbearable, and lean into these up to the notion of, oh, in these foreign countries, everything is just better. It's just a paradise. And it might be a paradise for this, what do they call it, honeymoon phase. I've heard people speak about this, that this passport bro stuff is kind of like a honeymoon phase, where it's like they're gonna go over here, they don't understand the culture, and they're gonna fall in love with these women, they're gonna fall in love with these countries, they're gonna fall in love with the culture, until they get immersed in this culture and they start to see things for what it is, and these people start to see them for who they are. Then the honeymoon phase is over, and it's gonna go to hell in a handbasket. So you can't cheat life. Like we've said it from the beginning. that you're gonna take yourself wherever you go. So if you're a loser here in the States and women don't really fuck with you, if they're fucking with you over off rip in another country, you need to be thinking about that. Why did they like me over here, but they didn't like me anywhere at all in the States? There's a reason for that, and you need to unpack it. So I've always come from the point of view of like, yo, I cannot even imagine what it's like to be a passport bro, and I don't want to have to go over to another country where you don't speak the language, you don't have any way to protect yourself really, in most cases, physically against the men over there, or even just the women who might be wanting to, set you up or whatever. I wouldn't want to have to look over my shoulder, because I do like to people watch, and someone slips something into my drink. That shit's never gonna happen in the States. That shit's gonna happen over in Sosua and some of these other passport bro locations. But I wouldn't want to have to question whether my connection with the woman was genuine or not. I would not want to question. I would not want to compromise intimacy or compassion or passion. I don't want to compromise certain things. But these dudes, I don't think that they value or love. I don't want to compromise that. But I think these dudes, they don't give a damn. They're just like, a body is a body, and I just want a good looking woman, and that's all I really want. I just want the vessel, the body, and that's it. And that's such a really hollow life. I mean, but some of these guys, I hate to say it, they're little more than just breeders. They're just sexual beings, and they don't really exist for much of a purpose beyond that. And then I guess this is just their way of like, the salmon go to the stream to release their eggs and then fall right into a bear's mouth. This is just their way of doing that in a human form. They just don't really have much of a purpose besides just jumping into a bear's mouth. But they have a lot more purpose than that. They just don't want to realize it. Let's see. Austin does walk like a okay. Finally, a good tweet from this dude. Hold on. There's nothing wrong with advocating for women. I think you just need to step outside of your hyper masculinity and your insecurities. You sound like a dude who doesn't go to therapy. I agree with him on this. Austin is he's set up by the industry, yet he was sleeping with his yeah. You were I was rocking with you until the last statement. I was agreeing with a lot of these points. Austin Hallman is I think he's cunning in the way he's getting money. He's not broke. So even though he's staying with his mom and his folks when he's in the States, that doesn't mean he's broke. That just means he's just leaning into this kind of digital nomad lifestyle. He wants to kind of like siphon money regardless of at the highest clip. And for him, that makes more sense to not have his own apartment. And if you were to do this grift the right way, I think he's doing it. I think he's doing it efficiently. He doesn't have a home in the States. He's living with his folks. That doesn't mean he's broke. I think a lot of these men, they're grifting, and they just want to be able to stack a nice check together so they can maybe buy some houses or start some businesses, or what have you. So you will never convince me that Austin Hallman is broke. Not when that man has a security detail. Not when that man can live overseas for 6 months, 6 to 8 months at a time. Nope, you're not gonna convince me of that. He's not broke, but he is a soulless piece of shit. He is a worthless piece of shit. Money can't change that, and that's why he's never gonna really have the things that he really wants in life. He'll have, that's the saddest. That's the saddest part about all this shit is he's got a whole army of incels, 100,000 of them behind him, but that doesn't bring him joy. It just brings him a little bit of money. It doesn't really bring him any notoriety. It doesn't really bring him any. It didn't bring him anything valuable to life. Because all those 100,000 of his followers, he wouldn't break bread with none of them. Because he knows they're fucking incels. He knows they're fucking losers. So he has to kind of pretend to be a loser himself so that he can kind of appeal to them, which is disgusting. But that's the life he lives. He's a piece of shit. We've got to, as men, start to set a threshold for when a boy is no longer a kid. Austin Holland was like 25, 26 years old. At what point are you no longer a kid? People were married at 25. People start families at 25 in some cases. People are working, and some of them are, senior level analysts, or sometimes they're managers at 25. So we've got to stop looking at Austin Hallman like he's a kid. He's not a kid. He's not. I don't know if you have anything else, Strictly.
Me personally, no. I was just listening to what you said about pasta and so forth. So yeah, you're on point. I don't think it's broke. Definitely it's not broke, because it's able to sustain himself for all this long, and it's going now to Europe probably next week or so. So definitely something is doing right.
Yeah. The scary thing about it, Strictly, is social media doesn't only let you see what the creator allows you to see. So Austin Holloman, he gets to he works so hard to try to set this narrative that he's just the everyman, that he's broke, he's just the guy who's down on his luck, and it's not true. So to OB32, you can deny that he has a security detail. One of these lives, I'm going to have Zed pull up the video that I saw that she pulled up, and Papi Rico said, hey, before he went back to Brazil, he said, yo, and I talked to Austin Hallman's security detail and blah, 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 and blase. So this dude has a security detail. Papi Rico, it slipped out of his mouth, but it makes sense, because a lot of these passport bros, as they develop these reputations, as they develop this notoriety, and they pop off about the women in the States, or they pop off about women in these countries, at some point these men are going to press you. So look at the difference between how Austin Hallman behaved in Brazil for the first time. I don't know if you've seen the videos, OB32, of how scared Austin Hallman was leaving Brazil for the first time. He was terrified. He thought his life was in danger, and it really was. He had to apologize in both Portuguese and English. He was literally like pissing on himself, like that man. But he's transformed into this like alpha narcissist, because now he's outside that country. He's probably since then he's probably established a security detail, and now people probably can't get as close to him. Yep, here we go. I need to see the video. Fearless said he met him by himself. I don't listen here. OB32, don't believe a fucking word Fearless says. Don't believe a single word. That dude's full of shit. He's a snake oil salesman. He's a terrible human being. He just like Ronan, they're both pieces of shit. Now, I respect them for their service. That they were. It seems like they were both military guys. Listen, salute to those dudes for defending the country, and and being in the army and all that stuff. But outside of that, I think they're both retired, so we can attack them personally. They are pieces of shit. Fearless, I would not trust him. Don't leave him in your house unattended. That dude, he cannot be trusted. He's too in too deep with the passport bros and the passport bro adjacent bros and the manosphere misogynistic dudes to ever convince me that he's not a piece of shit. So Fearless is in cahoots with Austin Hallman, is all I can believe. He is pro Austin Hallman, so he cannot be trusted. So what you need to do, OB32, is you need to comb through Austin Hallman's YouTube, and you need to watch the videos of when he got pressed, and he left the States. He fled Brazil and he went to like Asia or some shit. He went to like Japan or some shit. And then eventually to Africa. And then built his confidence back up by the passport bros still supporting his ass, and kind of letting the Brazil shit die down, because they were about to indict his ass. You don't really understand what he's been through. I don't know how they haven't indicted his ass since he came back to Brazil, but I think they've kind of like washed their hands, unfortunately, with pursuing that. But he was about to get in some serious trouble, allegedly. Okay, you know fearless in real life. Well, all that tells me is I can't trust you. I don't think you can be trusted now. Fearless is not a person, and I'm gonna say this too. Anybody who knows fearless and breaks bread with fearless isn't someone that I would want to associate with, because fearless ain't a person I would want to associate with. So I think that you by proxy, you are not someone I would want to associate with. Um, let's see. I'll let this guy live. If you fall for those guys, what? Um, I don't care. I'll be 32. What you're looking for? I'm just saying you can't be. You can't be. You're not the type of person I would want to associate with or break bread with. Let's see. So now I thank you for sharing all that. Thank you for being transparent. Now I can see you for who you really are. Um, let's say I let those guys live. No, and that's the problem. That's the problem. OB32 is. I want to give it back to Strictly in a second. We've got to stop letting guys live. We got to hold guys accountable. If you want to go travel for sex, if you want to go travel for female companionship, fine. Let those guys live. But the moment they open their fucking mouth about what's happening over here in the States and how women are ran through and the women can't be wives, that's when they need to get fucking chin checked and pressed. So that's the bottom line. Is like, we've got to stop being so lax. Men have been way too lax. They're not holding each other accountable. Male culture doesn't hold men accountable, really. You can see it with like the unwed children and how men get to just skirt that responsibility and just blame the single moms. We're doing way too much of letting guys live. Let's see. I'm not willing to break bread with you. Good. Don't do guys like me a favor. We don't want to be associated with people like you. So please please continue to be transparent and preach for people of your ilk to be transparent, because so that we can see people like you coming a mile away. Tell people that you hang out with people like Fearless. Zed said women don't need. Okay, let's talk about this. Zed said women don't need us, and all black men are the problem. So let it live. So, well, we got to always preface things with Zed is a radical feminist. And there's truth to what she's saying. Like with all the shenanigans that the manosphere is doing, if this is not a classic case, or if this is not all the evidence that black women need to know, you know what, let's not even scrape the bottom of the barrel. Let's just like leave black men alone. Let's not saying don't date them, but just let's not make them the prize. Let's not center our lives around black men. That are problematic black men is what I'm trying to say. Leave them alone. Do not give them don't feed the trolls. Stop dating strictly black when maybe your population of men that are attracted to you are problematic black men. Start dating out. So I'm 100% on board with that. I've even told my sister, one of my sisters, that it's just like I preach to all black women. I'm like, yo, don't exclusively date black men. Not in this climate. Nope. Unless you have a good quality of black men that are coming after, that are pursuing you, that's different. But I don't want to see black women just perpetually single or having to date down to the point where they're dating men who have multiple kids. No judgment, but some of those men who have multiple kids are not really good guys. I don't want to see black women dating bad guys just so they can have a guy. Let's see. What? This dude keeps posting. He loves posting. What the hell? I'm gonna give this back to Strick. I'm gonna give this back to you in a second. This dude, it kills me. It's like so many married men like have so much time to spend online. Like, why are you not with your wife? If I were you, if I was married, I would be cuddling up with my wife right now. So you're the one who needs the break. I got plenty of time. I don't have a relationship right now. I'm taking things slow. But you need to get in bed and cuddle with your wife, sir. Okay, Circle, I'm giving it back to you. I'm tired of feeding this troll. No. We are not the same. I'm not married. Like I said, if I was married, I would be listen, I'm single. I should be asleep. I'm thinking about moving over to this computer and completing some trainings. But if I was married, I'd be in bed. I would be cuddling. I'd be cuddling at the very least at this hour. And you're over here in probably some dark room listening to a podcast, and you're married. Oh, man, I don't envy you. You still there, Strictly?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Listening.
I was saying the floor is yours. I'm getting kind of tired of talking to this troll.
Yeah.
On the comments.
I know. I see that.
But I don't know, man. I don't know how much I could go forever. I love to talk, but I do need to get some sleep. It's like 2 a.m. over here. I need to get my ass in the bed. So you're more than welcome to talk. I'll probably just shut shit down.
Yeah, I think so. Because I don't think rich right now. Come on. So I guess. I guess we can shoot that. I don't know. Yeah.
The other thing, since OB232 wants to like call my advice eighth grade advice, I had like a new epiphany, and my epiphany is now, you're on the right trail with women when your buddies or your haters are just saying that what you're doing is so fucking easy, anybody can do it. You're on to something good because they're jealous of the success that you have. So they'll be like, oh, it's so easy because you're dating black women. That's what one of my friends says. The only reason you got success is because you're dating black women and they're desperate. The only reason you're so successful is because you're dating women who are of older age and they're desperate. It's like, no, but those women who are of older age, they still have standards. But I think a lot of men, they're kind of in this crabs in the bucket mentality where it's like, listen, guys, just because y'all are going out on dates and like 3 out of 4 dates are striking out, 2 out of 4 dates aren't even showing up, that doesn't mean everybody's living like that. Like that doesn't happen to me. So I can't relate, and it's not my fault. No, let's again. I'm kind of tired of this. This guy will be 32. Y'all worry about a 20-year-old loser giving dating advice to the lost. Yes, OB32, because it's not just dating advice. I think you can't see the forest from the trees here. Austin Hallman, Anton Daniels, fuck him. Fearless, fuck him. Ronan, fuck him, and fuck all these manosphere influencers, because they're selling despair, and they're poisoning the minds of young men. It's not just dating advice. That's so fucking that's the understatement of the century. They are poisoning the minds of young men and older men to not look at women in a way that they deserve to be treated, not treat them the way they deserve to be treated, not give them an equitable experience, run men away from their responsibilities, run them away, make them fearful of just doing things that are beautiful in life, like getting married or starting a family. A lot of these men in this generation are probably not going to, ever, experience certain things, not because they can't and don't have access to, but just they're so concerned with the stats. Where's the data that backs this up? Who gives a fuck? Get out there and start dating. Stop worrying about the stats. Stop worrying about the evolutionary psychology of this shit. If you if you are listening, if you're reading, if you're doing more time Googling and watching videos on stats than going out on dates, if you're giving more money to in super chats than you are on dates, there's a serious fucking problem. So yeah, like I'm concerned about the influence that Austin Hallman and Fearless and all these other bad actors in society are having on men in society. And it's like, it's not hurting my life, it's making my life a whole lot easier, because they get to, when women run into these fucking cucks, it's gonna of all ages, it's gonna just make it easier to get in front of the women that I find desirable, because these dudes are just shooting themselves in the foot. They think they deserve to be raging misogynists and also have women wanting to cuddle up and make them breakfast. It's not going to work like that. But so that's my aim. I hope it's clear to you, OB32. It's that they're poisoning the minds of men, of young and old. And you weren't here when, I think it might have been Strictly Travelers. You might have been on this panel when it was like months ago, and there was like this 20-year-old man who came on, young man came on, and he was just like, I just can't, I forget how, I'm trying to paraphrase. He was just like, it was almost like he couldn't tell up from down and left from right. He was just like so forlorn and so beat down about life. And it was just the saddest thing to hear. He was just reciting a lot of these like red pill talking points and stuff like that. And it was just like, it was so fucking sad. You can tell that like there are a lot of men who are just getting really just chewed up and spit out by this manosphere stuff and just society in general. And it's just like, it's so sad that it leaves them with like so little self-worth. And people like Austin Hallman and Fearless are just gonna, exacerbate that because they're pieces of shit. Yeah, so OB32, my friend is a conservative. This guy, I'm not gonna put his whole name out here, but he's half Jamaican, he's half Guyanese. He doesn't pass for black. It just visually. He's a very light-skinned guy. He doesn't like black women. He's one of these, he's kind of almost, he's conservative. He's Republican, but he's not a Trump Republican. He's my best friend. He gives me a lot of great advice. That's my man, 100 grand, like as people would say. But you don't always have to agree with. You won't always see things eye to eye with people who are in your life. And unfortunate for him, like he's just not attracted to black women. I think he's in a chokehold over the white supremacy that is perpetuated in the society about black women, about black culture. So he can't see black women beyond the stereotypes. He'll literally look at a picture with like a voluptuous, black woman with a great body, and you'll see like a woman who looks like Elaine from Seinfeld, and he's like, "Yo, I want Elaine from Seinfeld." That's just his type. He's got a type, and I think he's shooting himself in the foot by living in Atlanta, not being attracted to black women in a way that's going to be equitable and build anything on, and not get past the stereotypes. He's kind of like a high earning red pillar in a sense, red pill adjacent person. So I love him. He's my best friend, but yeah, he holds some. So what he's trying to say is, when he says, "Oh, Chris, you're desperate because you're dating black women. It's so easy for you to date because you're just dating black women." What he's saying, and there's a little bit of truth to it, not very much though, is he's saying that in the black community, a lot of black men are in jail. A lot of black men might be down low. A lot of black men are just not very well put together in some senses of the word, and it leaves a lot of options open for me, because a lot of black men, like I said, they're either in jail, or they're turning to crime, or they're not very educated, or they're not very high earning, or blah blah blah. So like that's kind of some of the things he's trying to lean on, but he's taking it way OD with it. And listen, to the same point, quiet as kept, he'll criticize me and say, "Oh, it's so easy for you to date because you're dating strictly black women. Why don't you try to date some other races and see how harder it is?" That's what he'll say. But he's dated some black women, like he dated, and I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier on this panel. Like he dated like a woman who was going through a divorce. or was recently divorced. And he got maybe like 3 or 4 dates out of her. And on the 4th date, she would not even let him walk her to her car. So I was like, so trying to be a good friend, you know, him between me and him, our debates will get like very heated sometimes. And I'm very reluctant to bring up the fact, like, dude, you struggled with black women. You think it's so easy, but you can't do it. You couldn't do the things I do because you're not who I am. You wouldn't want to do the things I like to do. So I don't think he's completely. He does espouse some things that are kind of racist. He is a conservative, so that's going to kind of lean into him being a little bit more racist leaning or whatever. But that's, again, he's my friend. He's a great friend. He's always been there for me. He gives me a lot of great advice, but I think his perspective on women is just really out of whack. And I tell him, I'm like, dude, you could find you a great woman if you're willing to date black women and look past the stereotypes. Let's see, rap music poisons men. The joke. Yeah, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'll take sports off of that. That's not fair. I'll make sure. I don't know if your house is clean if you associate with Fearless, but I'm rocking with a lot of the stuff you said. To his point, because I think he's making a point here. I've really started to realize that everybody's mind isn't really. Everybody is not given a strong mind. When I listen to rap, I can rock out with that. I could go to a concert with that. I could go wild out at a concert or a club with that, and I can turn that off when I get out of my car, get out of the club, and I can go back to my regular life. But a lot of people can't. They're influenced by what they hear in the music. They're influenced by what they see on the social media. They're influenced by what they see in the music videos. That's not me. It might influence me to go buy some clothing. It's gonna get me there. I'm the easiest. I'm the biggest sucker when it comes to consumerism or whatever. I will buy some shit when I see it advertised, but I'm not gonna treat a woman a certain way because I heard an NWA record, but or Hot Boy record, but there are a lot of dudes who will. There's a lot of dudes who are brainwashed and thinking like, nah, this is just the way it is. This is the way it should be. I know Hot Boys, they have that song, I Want a Hot Girl. I don't want a hot girl. I don't want a hot girl anywhere close to me. I don't want her on my property for that matter. That's going a little far, but I'm just trying to drive the joke. The thing is, it's like, yes, a lot of stuff poisons men, but it didn't have to. A lot of these men just don't have very strong minds, and like same thing with social media with this passport bullshit and the social media stuff. If you're letting viral social media videos drive how you feel about women, you don't have a very strong mind, and you don't really have it all together in life. So a lot of stuff can poison people. Like, I would reserve that for like children. I would say TikTok might be detrimental to children, but what we're seeing is it's very detrimental to adults with like low self-esteem, low self-worth, low social identity, malnourished social skills. Let me see what else. Yellow card. I mean, let's see, when was this? 218. He might have been talking about me not wanting to date. He might have been talking about my elitist beliefs. Let's see, 7 years ago. So what's the problem? Let's see, conservative and racist. No, conservative and racist are not too far from each other. I mean, in most cases, especially if they're men. Let's see, traditional values, quote unquote, and racist, not too far from each other. Conservative and racist, not too far from each other. Who's behind the computer? Orange's name, address. What? What are you talking about here? You better not be trying to dox me. Don't act weird, dude. I don't like Fearless. It's not about living in headwind free. I don't know where Fearless lives. I would not dox that dude. I don't give a fuck about that dude. I'm just saying I think he's a piss poor example of a man because he's giving bad actors in society a platform when they really should be deplatformed. He's perpetuating white supremacist talking points. He's perpetuating a culture of bad men and trying to give them a platform. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you can't help who your friends are. Your friends, that's the thing, OB32. Some friends are gonna come kind of incomplete. Like my friends would always say, Chris, and my name is Chris. They would say Chris is like the most stubborn guy ever. And there's truth, there's 100% truth to that. I might be in the top 10, top 100 issue of like most stubborn people. There's some truth to that, but like everybody comes with like some work to do or some limitations or some negative traits or perspectives. So there's nothing you can do to fix that with them. They have to fix that themselves, or they won't. And that's like I said, my friend, I love him. He's a great guy. But he like I said, this country and conservative space, and it's kind of got him in a chokehold where he can't really appreciate Black culture for what it is, I think Black people for what it is. Yeah, I mean that's your choice, man. I'm not saying you have to. I wouldn't want my kids around Black kids. Okay with their name while friends being with their non. It's just regular to you folks. Calling a guy calling a race. No, not true. Not true at all. People who hold problematic beliefs are not on the same level as Austin Hallman. Austin Hallman is a grifter. He's a piece of shit. He's a misogynistic person. He's my friend that I was talking about. He's not leading and influencing a legion of men to disrespect women. He's kind of like antisocial. I wouldn't say antisocial. He has a very much smaller footprint, and he's like I said, like every guy probably holds some type of problematic beliefs. I probably hold some, um, but you have to like kind of like weigh the good with the bad. You have to weigh the good with the problematic. Everybody's got like a problematic hot take. I get mine out the way when I'm dating someone, and I'm like, here's some of the hot takes I have. Blah 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 blah. Here's some of the people that I might be a fan of that maybe people aren't really a fan of. Because I want that person to understand who I am up front, and then be like, you know what, he might hold some hot takes, he might hold some problematic takes, but I still like I understand him in totality, and he's a great person, just like my friend. The one thing I really appreciate about him, even though he might have some like racist type of beliefs, he stays away from Black women. So that's the thing that's 2 thumbs up. That's 1,000 thumbs up. Know that if you don't appreciate a certain group of people or women or whatever the heck, stay the fuck away from them. So I applaud my friend from like he doesn't date Black women. He doesn't even try to give that a chance. If he's dating 10 Black women, I mean, if he's dating 10 women, 20 women, maybe like 1 or 2 of them are Black. And I love that for him, because he can't fully appreciate, even though I tried to beat it through his head, like, hey man, you should appreciate Black women. There's so much opportunity here that they would really love you, blah, 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 blah. Even though you're conservative, they would get to know him and they would really love him. But that's just not what he's attracted to. So he doesn't really surround himself with that or put himself in a position to date that. And so I appreciate that he's not doing that. Versus Austin Hallman, he's detrimental to men. He's detrimental to Black men, and he knows that, and he's going to just continue to siphon money away from them. And same thing with Fearless. So I'll leave that conversation alone. Yellow card, let me know. Thinks you're delusional. That's why he's quite. No, he's probably tired. But again, what I'm trying to say is like, I keeps going back to is like my friend who holds some type of racist beliefs or sexist beliefs, like he stays away from Black women. And I love that. I love that for him. I love that for me. I love that for the Black women. So he wants to chase. I think his type is like a white woman, And I love that. I love that for him. He knows what he wants, and he goes after what he wants. So I would appreciate people, specifically men, if you hold negative beliefs about a demographic of people, don't date that demographic. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I appreciate that my friend, he wouldn't be compatible with most black women. I mean, he'd probably have to find a conservative black woman, and that would be his speed. He's not liberal. He's not liberal enough to date liberal women in Atlanta. He's a conservative, so he doesn't date really black women at all. So, you know, you can call what you want. You can say I'm making an excuse for him, or whatever. I'm just saying I like that he knows the tribe, or he at least believes he knows the tribe of women that he's attracted to, and maybe find him attractive. So he goes after that. And black women just unfortunately aren't a part of that tribe. I hate that for him, but with the views he holds, I actually kind of love that for him, that he's not considering them. And that leans into the Zed shit. Like, she doesn't want problematic black men dating black women. He wants them dating anything but. So in my case with my friend, he's dating anything but, and I love that for him. I love that for them. So strictly, you want to take the stage, or you want to end the live? Because I'm getting a little exhausted. CLB32, he's tired. All right, Strictly, you still there? Going once, going twice, going three times. All right, we're gonna end this live. Oh, he dropped. I got nothing left to say. Y'all have a great morning, great day, whatever, great night, whatever it is. No, I don't agree with this. I'm gonna end this live on protect Zed at all costs. Zed is very necessary. The stuff that she has to say is very necessary. Y'all have a great night. Y'all have a great morning. Great rest of the week. All right, bye.